Our AFL correspondent at TheInformer all year has been Alex Caiafa. His football tipping at the beginning of the season rivaled very much what we were seeing on the football field. The teams didn't know if they were going to win or lose. They were in strange territory, many of them in foreign land. They didn't get to play too many home matches, if any. And the one thing that struck me as really gold, he finished with a wet sail. Just as the champion teams rose to the top, so did his tipping. And by the end, he was nigh on perfect. Alex Caiafa, long intro, but welcome, mate. I had to tell the truth. Your football tipping early was lousy, but some of the form of various teams was pretty up and down. Even the champions, Richmond, we saw them go through a terrible phase, but boy, did they come home. Just like your tipping.
Yeah.
Terrific stuff.
Yeah, no, you know, it was an unprecedented season.
It was.
My tips were a bit unprecedented too, you know. It was so hard to pick games this year.
Did you think that the players reacted early on, playing to empty grounds? Did that affect them? Because I noticed the football got better, sharper, the players certainly lifted as the crowds were allowed to come back, especially in Queensland, in South Australia, and of course in Perth.
Well, I think it's proven that professional athletes, they just perform better when they're actually playing in front of a crowd, when they've got the crowd to just get them energised and get them up and about. When there's no atmosphere there, you sort of got to make your own atmosphere. And I think that was the issue early on, is that players had to make their own energy, which is something that they haven't always had to do. So, you saw as crowds got back in, the football was much better.
There's also a bit of a story in that the really special players go to that extra step when they feel that surge of excitement. And it only came towards the end. And Dusty Martin, prime example of this, you don't play 3 grand finals and win 3 Norm Smiths unless you're doing something like... I think he loves crowds, I think he loves grand finals, and the other thing he loves to be is extraordinarily competitive. And he's just been a revelation.
He's an absolute showman on the football field. He can just do things that, you know, some other people just, you look and you're like, what did he just do? He was, and especially in that grand final on the weekend, he was amazing. That's some of the best football.
Fantastic. What did you make of Geelong?
Look, they were pretty good for the first half of football. I thought they were well on top in that first half of football. They'd kicked a little bit straighter and gotten out to a bit more of a lead at halftime than a 15-point lead. It could have been a bit different.
Did you think the loss, and we've got to say it, there's no two ways about it, I thought it was a loss, of Gary Ablett Jr., when he went down, and I realised straight away it was the shoulder that he had repaired. That's I've had a lot of shoulder problems, so I know the pain would have been incredible. For him to come back onto the pitch, onto the ground, unbelievable, and to actually play a contact sport.
Well, it was actually confirmed after the game he broke his shoulder, so he come back on with a broken shoulder, which is absolutely remarkable.
Well, he's had major surgery.
Yeah.
So for the player to land on him in that awkward position with the elbow up, there was only one thing that was going to happen. It was either going to pop again or it was going to break.
I mean, we had one of the strangest first quarters to start the game. We had Nick Vlaston, you know, be knocked out and had to come out and didn't return. You know, in that same passage of play, Gary Ablett does his shoulder. We had streakers on the field.
Oh, did you see this?
We had the works.
My eyes didn't see them.
Yeah.
I'm just so attuned to not seeing rubbish. Once you know, it's like a serial pest in the World Game. Australia was playing Iran. We were well ahead, and this serial pest ran on, interrupted the game, and I swore from that day on, anybody ever runs on the pitch, I just don't see them.
Yeah.
So, oh wow. So they had streakers, did they?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. No, let's get on. The season's finished. The Norm Smith medalist is over. The Brownlow medalist has, basically been an exceptional player, as you said, Lachie Neale. What happens now? We go into this funny period where the AFL loves to keep everybody as involved as possible. All the trade talk has started. When do we actually see draft and other things take place?
So the free agency starts tomorrow, which will be Friday, and then the trade period will actually start on the Wednesday, the 4th of November.
So this is the bartering period.
Yeah. So this is where the period where the speculation comes out, the hypothetical trades.
Lies, no lies, and some extremely big lies.
Yeah. yeah.
Okay.
We hear it all.
Do you expect anybody big to move to any new club?
I think there's been the three that look more likely than not to get to their destinations at the moment is Joe Danaher to Brisbane.
Yes. That's been mooted for a while. Well, it was actually Sydney first, but now he's going to go even further away from Essendon.
Adam Sard to Carlton.
Yes.
I should say four actually. Zach Williams to Carlton as well as a free agent.
Yep.
And the big one, which was announced last week, with Jeremy Cameron nominating Geelong as his preferred club, which you'd think they'd get it done. So
there's been a lot of talk in the last few days about Adam Treloar, Collingwood. I would have thought he's a Collingwood man, contracted. What's the word? What's going on?
He is a Collingwood man.
Who's making the noise?
He is a Collingwood man. He wants to stay a Collingwood man, but the club have actually come out and said, "You're not required. We want to trade you," and which I think sent shockwaves around the league. He's got a heavily back-ended contract, which has made things a little bit difficult. And considering they just signed Grundy on a big contract, they've just re-signed Darcy Moore. They have to still re-sign DeGoey on a big contract. So they've got they've got a bit of a salary cap squeeze their pies, and it's turned out Treloar's been
it's of their own making.
Yeah.
We also need to acknowledge a servant of the game, a great stalwart at Essendon, the long-time doctor at the Essendon Football Club, Dr. Bruce Reid, 40 years at the club, someone who fans and players revered and respected very much. One of the lone voices during the supplement saga at the club. He stood up and he was very firm about what was right and what was wrong. He passed away the other day. Cancer has taken him, aged 74. Our deepest sympathies and condolences to his family and his friends and to his many admirers and supporters. A loss. These are the special people behind the scenes who play a tremendous role in the game.
Yeah, well, team doctors and all those sort of guys, they play huge roles behind, getting the players up and ready week to week, getting them prepared for, week to week action, and he will be sorely missed. He's been at the same club for 40 years, which is absolutely amazing. So he did very well there.
Yeah, he's one team man, one club man, and as you say, very much appreciated by just about everyone. Our thoughts to him. Come back next week. I want to hear more about the draft talk or the bartering, and also let's get a handle on some of the more talented youngsters that may end up being drafted by your favourite club. Alex Caiafa on The Informer.